Here it is, another episode of Ask the Lawyer. This time we're going to ask, do you really need to call a personal injury attorney if you're injured? I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com. Here to answer our questions is attorney David Klibaner of the Klibaner Law Firm in Denver. David, thank you for making some time for us today.
Thank you, Rob.
So I'm injured, no matter what way it is. It's a car crash, a slip and fall, whatever it is. Why is it important that I get an attorney to help me out? Why do I need to call an attorney?
Well, there are a few reasons it really makes sense. If a person is seriously injured or thinks they may be seriously injured, if they wait, they really can negatively affect any potential claim they have. And there are a few reasons why an attorney can help. There might be cameras at an intersection that will not remain there if there's an auto accident, for example. There may be cameras at a business site where somebody has had a bad fall, and those videos sometimes disappear too unless an attorney is involved. What we do is, in that case, is write something called a preservation letter, which says, keep all evidence you have, don't destroy it. So that's another example. We can often help too, just with, and this happens all the time, with clients who wonder, how do I get medical bills paid? And we can give advice for that as well. So it really makes a difference, or can make a difference, to talk to a personal injury attorney pretty quickly early on, as opposed to waiting, because, as I said, bad things can happen if you wait too long.
You mentioned paying medical bills, David. What are my options when it comes to paying medical bills if I'm injured?
Well, the primary and first option should always be for anyone who is injured to use their own health insurance. And for various reasons, it's always better to try to use health insurance. Sometimes medical providers, and this is where a personal injury attorney can help, will actually say, no, don't use your health insurance. Do what's called a lien, and we'll take it out of any settlement you might get. And then those medical charges will be 2, 3, 4 times higher than they would be if someone used insurance. So you always want to try to use your health insurance first. The second way that that medical bills can be paid is through what's called medical premises coverage, or medical payments. Sometimes clients don't know this, their own insurance policy will provide $5,000, $10,000, sometimes more of medical insurance. Their own company will provide that, and that can be used too. But again, it's better to first use the health insurance and then use the medical coverage, if there is such coverage, to then pay deductibles or copays. And sometimes businesses also have some medical pay insurance, and it's going to be low. So even if they say this injury was not our fault, they still will have some amount, sometimes $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 that a person can use to pay copays if they have health insurance, or deductibles. So those are the main ways that you can try to get medical bills paid for. And finally, I should point out, if there's no medical insurance at all, attorneys often can help people by having them then go through a lien process where a health provider will provide care and then expect to be repaid out of any settlement, or if it goes to jury, a trial, a judgment.
So let's talk specifically about a car collision.
Okay.
I'm injured in a car crash, and hopefully the other driver has enough insurance to help me, and we can recover something. But what are my options if they don't, if they're underinsured or maybe don't have any insurance at all?
Okay. Generally speaking, people who have their own automobile insurance have what's called uninsured motorist coverage, and sometimes it's called underinsured coverage. And that insurance can provide coverage if somebody else has no coverage, or if someone has very low limits. Let's say they have $25,000 and somebody deserves compensation beyond that. The injured party can then use his or her own insurance policy's underinsured coverage to pay additional money. So it's a claim against their own company, but it doesn't raise their rates, and it's something they're clearly entitled to do. Now, I should say that occasionally people reject this coverage, although the premiums are very low for that kind of coverage, and that's the worst thing to do. a person should always make sure they have what's called coverage on their own policy, because too often people who in auto accidents cause injuries don't have enough coverage to adequately compensate somebody.
And that kind of coverage would also come into play in, say, a hit and run?
Absolutely. In fact, that's a classic example where if somebody just leaves the scene and so there's no coverage there, then a person's uninsured motorist coverage would supply a possible compensation for the person who's hurt.
What if after the collision, David, and the injury, I'm contacted by the other person's insurance company? Should I say anything at all? What should I say? What should I not say?
You know, I see this all the time. Generally, I'm seeing clients who've come in after giving statements to insurance companies. And to put people's minds at ease, I don't think I really can recall a case where that's been a problem, because people who are hurt tell the truth and they say what's happened. But having said that, ideally, a person should, other than perhaps arranging for their car to be seen if they have property damage and the other company wants to pay for the car, they should not really get into the circumstances of what happened. I mean, they're better off talking to an attorney first. So that's really ideally what a person should do. But I don't want people to get scared if they talk to insurance companies and just relate what happened, because it's very rare that that's a problem, because people should tell the truth about an accident, a crash that somebody caused, and they'll be okay. But ideally, you should probably talk to an attorney first.
So, David, we started off by talking about talk to an attorney as quickly, as early in the process as possible, no matter what sort of personal injury you're dealing with. But what if people are thinking, I've got to deal with my injuries. I don't know that I can afford an attorney to help me with my case. Really,
every personal injury attorney I know works on a contingency basis. So it does, which means a percentage of what the attorney will recover on behalf of the person who's hurt. And I and most other attorneys will talk to someone who's injured and tell them their rights and often meet with them. And so it's not going to cost a person anything to contact myself or other personal injury attorneys. That's the first thing. And second, sometimes people think, I'm really hurt. Do I have a claim? Maybe I don't. And there's a certain anxiety there. And it helps sometimes just for sense of closure to talk to an attorney. And if there's a valid claim, an attorney can help and it won't cost the client anything. If the attorney honestly feels there's just nothing there, then client ought to know that. A person should know that and then figure this is it. I have to deal with it in a different way. So either way, we can help early on, whether or not there's a valid claim. And generally often there is, and insurance companies who the clients or injured people may talk to, they're not going to be reliable sources. They're out to pay as little as they can, or pay nothing in terms of potential claims. So there's really no downside to talking to a personal injury attorney early on.
David, lots of helpful information as usual. I appreciate you making some time to answer our questions today.
Glad to do it, Rob. Thank you.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney David Klibaner of the Klibaner Law Firm in Denver, Colorado. If you want the best information about personal injury, or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, make sure to visit askthelawyer.com. Also, please take a sec to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the button at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for watching. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com.